Hey, y'all, I'm back with another video. I literally just got done with my last video, and I know I said I was done talking about the whole Drake jail thing, Young Thug thing, but here's the thing. So this part is important, right? So there was some phone calls that were just released or whatever, and again, from Young Thug talking to somebody in jail. Now, this clip in particular that I'm going to talk about is specifically pretty much confirming the rumors that, that were kind of floating around about why Metro Boomin and why Drake fell out with each other, right? And the reason that's important is because, as we all know, Metro and Future, they did, those albums together where everybody was throwing shots at Drake. Obviously it was called We Don't Trust You and then We Don't Trust You Too. Obviously that's where where Kendrick did his like that's there, and that kind of started everything that happened afterwards, right? So within this phone call, Thug is pretty much saying how Thug, and then I guess Metro also felt like, he was like, this man mama just died and you pretty much waited about 2 to 3 weeks after his mom passed and then reached back out to him and asked about the song. And Thug was like, nah, like, that man mama died. Like, you supposed to take that big ass jet and you supposed to go down there and sit with that nigga like every fucking day or whatever. And so now the internet is in an uproar. Now, again, there had already been rumors about this because Joe Budden had already said this on his podcast. He had said at one point in time, like, he was going off on a rant. He was like, nah, niggas is worried about a fucking song when niggas' moms just died or whatever. And then Ack had been like kind of alluding to that as well as that being the issue. So long story short, Doug pretty much confirmed the fact that, if you guys don't know, I believe Metro Boomin's mom, I believe, passed away on June 2nd, 2022. And I don't even want to say passed away. She was unalived by her husband on, like I said, June 2nd, 2022. So I went back because I wanted to do like some research real fast because I wanted to see what we're talking about here. So what Thug is saying is that Drake reached out to Metro about 2 to 3 weeks after his mom passed in regards to a song. So I went back to look to see, like, what the hell was he dropping around that time that would make sense. Now, honestly, Nevermind dropped June 17th. So that would probably make sense as into, like, the album, maybe, that he was probably asking Metro about. If I'm just, like, kind of piecing. If his mom passed away June 2nd and then Honestly Nevermind comes out June 17th, then yeah, like that's roughly almost about like 3 weeks, like in between the two or whatever. So I can see it being, what I can see happening was that, again, I don't know, but I'm just trying to piece it together. What I can see happening is that Drake was working with Metro probably on different songs for Honestly Nevermind. Unfortunately, Metro's mom is, unalived by her husband. And then Drake probably, backs up, leaves him alone. But the probably deadline, I would assume, for his album to drop is probably like right around the corner. So I'm pretty sure he's probably waiting. I would assume he probably waited like right before the album dropped and reached back out to Metro and said, hey, just wanted to check in, see, what exactly, like, are we going to do the song? Or are we not going to do the song? And so from there, according to Thug, I guess he's, confirming that Metro, felt some type of way. And so, now the internet is blazed. So let's talk about this. I think this is really interesting for a myriad of reasons. I think, to me, like, y'all know how the internet is. Twitter's going to sensationalize it, so I'm not even, like, about to be on there and see what they're saying. But if we're just talking real life shit, right? It really depends. I want to say this. Metro is valid to feel, for the most part, however it is that he wants to feel. However, what I want to make very clear is that we don't know in exactly what way that this happened. And I mean it like this, right? So, even before I get into what I think possibly happened, I also want to say that this is very important, like a good, really, really good, like, lesson for, like, communication within friendship. And it actually puts I'm looking now that it's confirmed. I'm now looking at that article that like Metro and Future did with GQ. And where like, cause I think I even did a video on it where like Metro was pretty much kind of like backtracking, you know, like the fact that, you know, he was kind of like coming for Drake, whatever. And also within that article, he said, I don't understand why everybody's making it a big deal, because it's just like you ever been friends with somebody and you guys just like, you know, get into a disagreement about something. It's like pretty much like that's just what happened. And by him saying it that way, right? When he says it that way, it comes off to me like it was more of a, like he said, something that maybe they didn't necessarily like have a conversation about. Maybe one person was feeling some type of way and the other person was feeling some type of way. And instead of like just having like a conversation probably and being honest with each other about how each other felt, it seems like, again, feelings just kind of got spun out of control, and then we lead all the way to where we are right now. So that's why I feel like it's not necessarily that Metro was backtracking. I think in hindsight, he now looks at it like, damn, I didn't expect it to go to where it went to. I was pissed off at this nigga, but in all reality, like, I didn't expect it to go like the way that it went. It was, again, something that me and my friend wasn't seeing eye to eye about. Me feeling hurt, me feeling some type of way about something, and, you know, me taking it like to the next level. So all of that to say is, this is what I'm saying about what I think could possibly have happened. And again, the only reason I'm saying that is because in that GQ article, Metro didn't say, like, it didn't sound like, he didn't seem like he was still angry at Drake. He said it's just a situation where two friends have a disagreement. He didn't say it's a situation where somebody was being extremely unloyal, where somebody was being extremely disrespectful and I couldn't stand for it, where where somebody was just like in complete disregard of my feelings. Like, he still said two friends, and maybe they're not friends now, but I think when people talk about certain things, like, you got to listen to the small details of what they're saying. And this is what I think could have possibly happened. I'm going to give all of the scenarios. I think scenario one, this could have happened. Drake and Metro are working together on the Honestly Nevermind album. Because, you know, a lot of times, like, when they do, like, tracks together, not them two, but, like, artists and producers, sometimes they'll do a whole bunch of records, right? And then maybe pick the best. So I'm going to assume they probably were, like, working, you know, on tracks and stuff like that together. Unfortunately, like I said, whatever happens with, you know, Metro's mom. That happens on June 2nd. Now, at that point in time, I would assume that with the album actually dropping on June 17th, I would assume that by June 2nd, I'm pretty sure they got a lot of different shit, you know, that's like either locked and loaded or almost locked and loaded in there, right? So I'm going to assume that that's what happened, you know, condolences. I'm talking about from Drake's standpoint. Let me back up and I'm going to leave this nigga alone. I'm not saying nothing to this nigga. Let him be over there. Let him grieve. Let him do what he do. Let's say June 15th comes around. Drake reaches back out to Metro. Hey, bro, you know, I just wanted to check in, see how you doing, how you feeling. Is everything okay? You good? Like, you know, my heart goes out to you. Da 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 da. Okay, I just wanted to check in, make sure that you good, you know, and, you know, with the album coming up, you know, I just wanted to see how exactly, you know, you want to handle that. Did you want to still put in, you know, this song, and this song, or did you want to, you know, like, just take it off? If you don't want to do it, I'm good with that. Like, you know, I just wanted to see where exactly you was on that, right? And Metro's response to that could have been, nigga, what? Are you calling me about a song? Are you calling me about a song? And my mama is gone, and you're calling me about your fuckity fuck album. Fuck you and fuck that album. Boop. And from there, nobody talks to each other, right? Now, Metro's over here. He's upset. Talking to this person about how it's fuck this nigga. This nigga called me about some motherfucking song. He ain't even called to check in to me the whole motherfucking time. this, fuck this, it's up with that nigga, blah, 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 blah. And then Drake could be on his side like, yo, I didn't want to take him off the album. I just wanted to see if he wanted to be on it. If he didn't want to, I was cool. I just wanted to check in because it does have to drop tomorrow. So I just wanted to check in. Like, I felt like I gave him enough time. I wasn't hounding him. I left him alone. You know, like, I thought that was cool. I left him alone. All right. But that's how he feel. That's how he feel. Then we keep going. And, you know, I feel like those hurt feelings from Metro grew into what ended up happening in last year. The We Don't Trust You album. The We Don't Trust You Again album. Like, I think all of those feelings during that time frame was thrown into those two albums. And I think, again, that's just one version, right? Because I'm going to do the other version of what could have happened. But in that version of things, I feel like, again, this is where communication comes in, because I feel like what possibly could have happened, because this happens a lot of times, you know, like sometimes during like really hard times and grief and stuff, sometimes you may not know how to show up as a friend, right? And I'm going to give you two different ways of this, right? Like, because my thing is, I want to start at the basis here. We're all under the assumption that Metro and Drake were even friends to that level. Because people love to say, well, how do we know that Drake and LeBron was friends to that level? Well, we don't know to what degree Metro and Drake were friends, right? So when Thug says you were supposed to take that big ass jet and go and sell with him, how do you even know that Drake and Metro was that tight enough for Drake to feel like he could pull up and do that? You know what I mean? But so I'm going to go from two ways. Let's just say that they were cool enough, you know, to where maybe, you know, Drake could have checked in a little bit more. I think this could have been a situation, like I said, where sometimes you don't necessarily know how to show up for your friend in certain ways. So like what you think may be good for somebody, they may not. So for example, me, if I'm going through something like that, I want to be left alone. I don't want people to be calling my phone. Don't be blowing me up. Don't be checking. Leave me the fuck alone. Like, leave me alone. And I'm going to come back out when I come back out, and I'm going to come around when I come around. Then you have some people who they need people to be around them. They need people to check up on them. They need people to check up on them. If with me, I like to give people space, but that's maybe me projecting because that's how I like to handle things. So Drake could have been looking at it like, let me just leave him alone and let him grieve and like let him do what he do. And so let me leave him alone, but I don't want to necessarily cut him all the way from the album because we did already do a lot of work on this shit. So I'm going to leave him alone, and I'm going to literally wait to the very last minute to try to check in with him and see exactly how he wants to handle this. But in the meantime, I'm going to just leave that man alone. I ain't going to even bother him about nothing. That's one way. Other way, possibly, don't know, could have went like this. Could have been, everything happens on June 2nd. Boom. Drake's like, oh, okay, all right, I'm not going to say nothing. Let me fall back. Next week goes by. Y'all think I should call him? Because the album about to come out. No, I'm let her rock. Next week comes in. Yikes. I mean, we kind of getting close here. Is there 40? Do y'all got something else in the tuck that we could replace? What y'all thinking? Okay, let me reach out to this nigga. Hey, what's up? Yeah, you know, so I hope everything is cool, you know. I was just, you know, asking, you know, wondering, you know, what exactly you wanted to do, you know, with the tracks, you know, because the album, you know, is, you know, coming up in like a few days. So, you know, I know you have a lot going on, but, you know, I just kind of wanted to see where you are with that and if those tracks are done. If so, I mean, whatever you're not done with, if maybe you can just send it over and like 40 can work on it, then, you know, like maybe we can do that. But I mean, what you tell me. In Metro, same thing. Nigga, what? Like, I feel like no matter what it was, Metro was never going to hear what he had to say if Drake reached out, like, you know, about that album. It was never going to be good either way. It was never going to be good. And if Drake did it that way, then that's fucked up. So I want to give both sides of it. Drake, if Drake and Metro were really like friends, then I think that Drake, the way that Drake should have handled that, he should have just said to Metro when everything happened, listen, bro, don't worry about anything when it comes to like whatever we worked on. Don't worry about shit. I'm gonna figure it out. Just worry about, you know, you taking care of everything you need to. Please let me know if you need anything, and I'll be here for you. And check in every couple of days. Check in, even if it's a text message. Check in. Just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hey, send some flowers, send some that. And I don't know that he didn't do that. I'm just saying this is what I would do if I was him. And do that. And then as far as your album is concerned, fuck all of that. If I was you, I just would have took whatever songs that he did, I just would have took them off. I just would have took them off, honestly. Or like whatever y'all absolutely agreed on, sure. But everything else, if anything was in a pot, I just would have put it to the side and maybe put out like a little, you could have even took all of Metro songs out, right? And then maybe a little bit down the line said, like, you know how like Metro does like tapes with like 21, you and him just could have had a tape that was out together. But I would have just did that. I'm saying if Drake didn't feel comfortable like reaching out, I think that would have been probably the best way to handle that. And then I feel like with Metro, I feel like if your feelings, you know, were hurt, I feel like you should have took some time to like really sit with that, but then have a conversation with your friend to say, hey, bruh, I understand that your album was coming out, and I understand that shit gotta get done, and I understand that we had this shit that was on the line and we had already did what we did, but at the end of the day, bro, that was my mom, and I could give two shits about your album. I could give two shits about any of those tracks, and I felt like you didn't really, that you was more concerned about that than being my friend. And then y'all have whatever dialogue that needs to have. Instead of that, and I don't know, maybe they did have that conversation and it didn't go the right way. But instead of, in my opinion, if I'm Metro, like let's just say Metro really did feel like Drake didn't give a fuck about him. Like, let's say they had a conversation and Metro still felt like Drake didn't give a fuck about my feelings. He's a messed up person. Okay, cool. Then I'm just not going to mess with you. Period. I'm not going to take my time to make 2 full albums and coordinating shit to make sure that I take you down. If I feel like you're the type of person that's going to put music and business over friendship, like how he feels towards LeBron and them, then I'm just not going to deal with you. Period. I'm not gonna do a whole coordinated two albums is crazy. Like a shot here and there. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at a little shot here and there. I'm not mad at that. But the whole situation was just too much. And at the end of the day, you capitalized off of that as much as you could. I understand that it's all hurt feelings. I just feel like both sides should have handled that completely different. If y'all were really friends like that, then there's no reason that this got to where it got to. Like, there's no reason. And I can, like, speak on something that happened, like, pretty, like, similar to me. So, like, 3 years ago, I was pregnant, but then I, lost my child or whatever. And I'm talking when I was pregnant or whatever, I had a miscarriage. And I felt like at that time, one of my friends wasn't really there for me at the time. I felt like this person was real MIA. And then I felt like when they did reach out to me, it wasn't really about like, checking in on me type shit. And I really held on to that for like a while. Like I held on to it for at least another year and some change before like it just exploded out of me. I was just like, I couldn't take it. I was like, you didn't even check in on me during this. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. And her response was like, what? Like, you're the type of person that you be wanting your space. Like I told y'all earlier, right? Like you're the type of person that wanted your space. And when I did call you, you never brought it up. And I didn't feel like it was right for me to bring something so sensitive like that up. So I just gave you your space and, waited more so for you to come to me. And then we had that conversation, and I feel like that's kind of what this was. And I feel like that's why I will take back what I said about Metro. I don't think he was necessarily like I mean, he was definitely backtracking, but I think it was only because in hindsight, it seems like a disagreement among friends around something like really sensitive that happened just like balled up into like it just really got out of hand. And I think Metro in hindsight realizes that it really shouldn't have went that far, because all it really took was probably for them to both have a real honest conversation. And instead of having a real conversation, we got what we got. We got what we got. And so now we are where we are. When it probably easily just could have been settled by two people sitting down and having a conversation and explaining how both of them looked at something and how they both, like felt about a situation. And this is the consequences of not communicating. Even in friendships, you have to communicate. If you first of all, you have to be like, from Drake's side, you have to be more like cognizant of like, and know your friend a little bit better. You gotta know what type of friend you have, and you gotta learn them a little bit more to know like what type of support that they would need. And you also gotta be able to take like ownership and accountability. And if you didn't show up as a friend, then Drake would have to take accountability in that. Even if he felt like he did everything right, it don't matter. He's telling you that you didn't. So you would need to take accountability and saying, I did not show up as a good friend, and I apologize for that. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're trash. You're trash. But see, that's the real life way of how you should handle things, and not like, and I think that's like the real life way of probably how things played out, versus how the internet's gonna like pump it up like, oh, this nigga da da da. Like, at the end of the day, Metro's feelings was always going to be hurt because it's his mom. It don't matter when somebody asks you something, your feelings are always going to be hurt. You know what I mean? But I think in real life, that's probably how it played out. But y'all get in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. Everybody, just communicate. Just communicate.